Good day, children. How are you today? Are you ready to learn science stuff? Great. Before we start our lesson, I want you to prepare yourself as well as your materials necessary for your study. Try to find a nice and comfortable place inside your home where you can focus with your lesson. For today's lesson, we are going to discuss the phases of the moon. This is Teacher Jandip Aldwin Salgado. The objectives for this lesson are: first, observe the moon's appearance as well as the changes in its appearance. Second, enumerate the 8 phases of the moon. Third, describe the phases of the moon. Content standards. The learners demonstrate understanding of the phases of the moon and the beliefs and practices associated with it. Performance standards. The learners should be able to debug local myths and folklore about the moon and the stars by representing pieces of evidence to convince the community folks. Learning competencies. Infer the pattern in the changes in the appearance of the moon. For today's lesson, we are going to answer 3 questions. First, what is moon? Second, what are the phases of the moon? Third, how does the moon change its phases? What is moon? Before we answer that question, have you seen a moon at night? Did you notice its different appearance? Very good. So what is moon? It is one of the objects in the galaxy we see in the sky. We clearly see it with our own bare eyes because the moon is the closest neighbor of the Earth. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't, because the moon moves around the Earth. That is why it is called the natural satellite of the Earth. What are the phases of the moon? There are 8 phases of the moon: the new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, and the waning crescent. So we'll discuss each phases of the moon. Let's start with the new moon. The new moon is the lighted part of the moon is facing away from the Earth. Thus, it is not visible because we are seeing the dark side of the moon. Waxing crescent. The C shape of the moon. This phase is less than the first quarter. First quarter. Half of the moon is visible to the Earth about a week after a new moon. Waxing gibbous. Visible lighted part of the moon is more than the first quarter. Full moon. The whole part of the moon is lighted. The entire circle of the moon is visible during clear night sky. Waning gibbous. The lighted part of the moon gets smaller, which is less than the full moon. Last or third quarter. Half part of the moon is visible again on the third week of the month. Waning crescent. The visible lighted part of the moon gets smaller than the last quarter. So how does the moon change its phases? The shape of the moon isn't changing throughout the month. However, our view of the moon does change. The moon does not produce its own light. There is only one source of light in our solar system, and that is the sun. Without the sun, our moon would be completely dark. The sun's light comes from one direction, and it always illuminates or lights up one half of the moon, the side of the moon that is facing the sun. The other side of the moon is dark. The moon displays these 8 phases, one after the other, as it moves through its cycle each month. It takes 27 days for the moon to orbit Earth. That means the moon cycle in 27 days long. Okay, to measure your understanding, let's answer these following questions. Question number 1. What is the phase seen when the moon is between the sun and Earth? May I request Irene Agbayani to answer this question. Very good. The answer is new moon. Second question. The phase when most of the lighted portion of the moon is visible in the sky and seen before a full moon. I request Edith Puno to answer this question. Very good. The answer is waxing gibbous. Number 3. How many days for the moon to orbit Earth? I request Geraldine Moring to answer this question. Very good. 27 days. Fourth question. The phase of the moon where the invisible lighted part gets smaller than the last quarter. Request Jenril Hagunos to answer this question. Very good. The answer is waning crescent. Question number 5. The phase when the moon appears in a semicircular form and is seen after a new moon. I request Loretta Garcia to answer this question. Very good. The answer is waxing crescent. I hope you learn a lot from today's lesson. So for your assignment, in a sheet of paper, draw and label the 8 phases of the moon. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.